Ilya Topuria is fighting Charles Oliveira this weekend at UFC 317 for the vacant lightweight strap. Now, this video is going to be a breakdown on what each fighter does individually, and how it's going to come together, and what I think will occur when they step into the octagon this weekend. Now, I want to start with Ilya. Ilya is, 16-0. He's coming off 2 amazing back-to-back KOs, both of which, I was going against him because fan favorites, and the Volk one made me want to kill myself, as a fellow Aussie, and Volk being my favorite fighter, it really did make me very depressed. But I am now an Ilya fan, We will knock out Charles Oliveira, okay? Wait, that was a spoiler. Shit. Well, fucking, you saw much breakdown, I guess. So, he's 16-0. Oh, the country says Germany, but it's like Georgia. He lives in Spain. Oh, this guy's fucking all around the world. He's, as you can see, 5'7", so 170. Shout out all the Short Kings. I empathize. He embodies violence in the style. He has heavy pressure, very fast hands. It's very much boxing based. But he just gets in there and just puts it on you. Now I want to talk about Ilya's stance at the start. I think a lot of people don't actually talk about what he does with it and how brilliant it is. So one key thing to notice is actually how he holds his lead hand. If you look at the way he angles his shoulders, you can see that it's about 35 degrees from the horizon. What that means is that his shoulder is pretty much pointed at the opponent's rear hand in an orthodox battle. And he also holds his lead hand such that his shoulder and lead hand create like an arrow that points towards the opponent's lead hand. And what that actually does is it allows him to have greater utility with his lead hand. He can jab towards the head. He can use it to grab the opponent's lead hand. He can grab the opponent's rear hand with it. And also, just by default, with the way he holds it and with his tack guard, pretty much covers most of the opponent's attacks from that rear hand. He also stands with his feet quite close together. Well, actually, no, I want to rephrase that. It's closer together than you would think, but it's about shoulder width, so it's not actually that far. Shoulder waist width. But it lets him keep his balance really well. And you see that when he moves back and forth, right? His base is always with him. And that helps him as it loads his power and helps his weight distribution really well. Now, let's break down how Ilya attacks, his offensive patterns. And what I mean by that is how he initiates attacks, not how he reacts to attacks. So, Ilya's positioning is phenomenal. He really likes to be in the center of the octagon, pushing forward, letting you come to him, and cutting you off as you circle. He does his best work when he's, that inner octagon where they now put the names, you can buy, put your name on the canvas and buy it. He's really good when he's just half a step back from there. You see this a lot in the Max fight, where he was pretty much there most of the fight when he was pressuring. And that is really effective because it allows him, when he does go forward and blitz or attack, it pushes opponents right to the fence. And obviously you can't go more past the fence, right? Because, you can't phase through that shit. What Ilya does and likes to do a lot is he likes to pull counter. How does he pull counter? He will sometimes shift his weight towards the back leg. And when he does that, he twists his hips, so it looks slightly weird. But I think Nansen MMA did a video on I want to say it's Nansen, I'm not 100% sure, I'm pretty sure it is. He did a video on the fighting nerds and how Jean Silva and Mauricio Ruffi put their weight on the back legs when they want to throw the rear hand. And it had so much power to it. Ilya does that. And he does use it in combination with his normal stance, and he does look to pull counter off that. Now, one of his main weapons is his feint. I'm going to call it a high-low step feint. I don't necessarily know if it's the official term, but if you watch a couple of it, you'll understand. He goes up, he changes levels up and down. So he's obviously feinting his overhands and entries, but he also does a fake step in sometimes, and that obviously is a way to pull, right? Now, how that evolves off the high-low step feint is that he will start opening up with lead weapons. He will start throwing his double jab. He will do a jab 2 or jab overhand. He really likes that overhand. It's really powerful. He will sometimes just go out and touch your arm lightly, right? It's obviously a feint. It's obviously he's looking to make reads off it, and he has a nice lead hook that he uses quite well in exchanges and in combinations. And the last thing is he uses that guard pull, or that wrist control as he blitzes. Right? And you see that a lot in the Max fight. It's actually what he knocked him out, or not knocked him out with, but it's what he hurt him with to begin the finishing sequence. It was he did that lead hand guard pull and then a right hand overhand that just fucking chinned him. Okay, what else does he like to do? Ilya is incredibly effective when you're against the fence. And what he does is that he's actually really patient, right? And he will look to feint and draw you out and then punish you with just lead shots if you keep circling away from him in the same way. That's what he did to Holloway. Holloway kept circling to his right as he exited. Ilya saw it, and then after two times, he hit him with that beautiful right hook. Left hook. Sorry, not right hook. Left hook. Against the fence, so if you're going to circle against Ilya, you have to make sure you switch it up. You can't go one side every single time. And you may actually have to make a frame on his lead hand, which we'll actually get to because Charles does that. Now, you also saw his patience and efficiency in the Emmett and Mitchell fights. Emmett got absolutely fucked up. There's no way around it. He just doesn't have the movement and just the variations that you need to deal with a Topuria. He's just not that level, right? But if you look at the Mitchell fight, Mitchell had more success against Ilya. I'm going to attribute it towards the fact that Mitchell's southpaw, so he had more time to see Ilya's shots as they came to him. That's just what I'm going to say. Is it maybe, or maybe Mitchell just got fucking underrated head movement. Who the fuck knows? Now, another thing you can't do against Ilya is exit first. When you exit first, he will punish you. That's how he smacked Holloway. That's how he got Holloway when he actually knocked him down. Holloway was rocked. He was going out, and then Ilya hit him with that massive left hook. Absolutely fucking beautiful. All right, another weapon that I don't think people understand about Ilya is his leg kick. Now, traditionally, you wouldn't say it's a good idea to throw a leg kick naked without no punches in front of it, which is what he does, right? Granted, he doesn't put punches in front of his leg kicks, but for some reason, I don't know why, it just always lands. In the Volk fight, it's because he was timing it perfectly. Volk was circling towards the right side. He was looking to draw out a right hand and then counter off that, which you see him do quite a bit. He did it a lot in the Diego Lopez fight. But yeah, I don't know. He just blasts it. Don't get me wrong, it's quick, right? It's really quick, and I think it meshes well into how he feints the right hand. But I don't know. I just feel like someone should be able to see it and counter off it. I don't know. But it's incredibly effective of a weapon, right? And then the last thing I want to talk about is pace. Ilya fights at a blistering pace. He doesn't land as much like a Volkanovski or Holloway does, but the way he's always making you move and always building that anticipation just makes you so tired. And when he moves, he goes, pauses. But the pause is like a 5-second pause. He'll go. And it's just overwhelming pressure. And looking at everything he's done, I think you have to say that Ilya has, brilliant fight IQ. He's got really nice adjustments that he makes, and a lot of drills that he'll make, so that if he recognizes a certain pattern, he'll just go back to using the adjustment that he's been drilling before. Okay, let's talk about how Ilya defends himself. Now, I will admit, I'm not a massive fan of his defense, in the way that he doesn't actually do much of an active defense. It's one of two things. One, he'll keep his guard tight. Beautiful guard. You can't really land anything to the head. Or even the upper body. Alright, actually, quickly, I want to make a pause. Ilya's got, the perfect build, man. His elbows go perfectly to his ribs. So, you can't even attack, most of the body. You can only attack, just the belly button and slightly above it. It's a bit of a fucking, genetic lottery win there, Okay, back to his defense. Ilya's got two defensive moves. One, he backs up when you attack him. Just straight up guard, he will just move space. Keep his balance. It's really nice. Two is the immediate counter. He might do a small hop step back and then look to counter, but he's got these two patterns, and the counter is unfortunately not like his attack. He attacks with like 6-7 punch combos sometimes. Did it against Volk, fucked Volk up. It's still sad, okay? But he counters with he will just plant counter. He won't move and then counter. Right? He won't want to move, keep going to combo. He will plant and counter, which is what he did a couple times against Holloway. I don't want to say when he does do that, he does have a tendency to overextend his power. Like if you watch against Holloway, if you watch against Mitchell, he does go off balance because he overthrows. Now, is it a big problem? I don't particularly think so. Purely because whenever he does it, the opponent's already running out. They're not looking to counter, but it is a possibility, right? If you really think about it. Another beautiful part of Ilya's defense is his head movement, right? Great balance, great head movement. He doesn't really seem to set up he doesn't really seem to use it a lot, in a heavy exchange, but he'll use it at range to sort of maintain the distance where he's at to keep on that pressure. Another thing Ilya's really good at is countering that jab with the overhand. You saw it against Volk. I think he did it against Holloway as well. He just does it generally. You can't jab at him too many times and not expect him to counter over the top. And then obviously the last thing is just distance control. But I think that's quite fundamental to any top fighter. It is that beautiful distance control and how he's able to keep, those steps and movements perfectly and precise. Okay, let's talk about his ground game. So, I want to be honest, I don't know anywhere near as much about the ground game as I perhaps do about striking. Just because I think it's a lot harder to observe. With the tangle of legs. Bro, half the time I don't know who the fuck's leg is whose. But what Ilya likes to do offensively is he likes that body lock. Yeah, he's got that very Greco-Roman style. He really likes body locks when he's looking for control, and when you're flat on your back, he really likes side control. And the way he grapples when he's looking to damage you is that smashing one. He's just gonna smash through your guard just like an ox, right? Which is a bit ironic because he's El Matador, but actually Matador's a bull. But anyway, the way he does side control is that he likes there's a couple variations. There's obviously knee on. He does knee on belly. Why do you keep saying obviously? It's not obvious to you. I've got a script in front of me. You ain't got a script. What the fuck? Okay, forgive me for that, but he likes knee on belly. Obviously knee on belly is. I keep saying fuck. I keep saying knee on belly isn't perhaps the greatest thing to do in MMA purely because most people know how to deal with it. But it is really great when you're using to dominate your opponent for a couple seconds to set something up. Another thing he really likes is that I don't know what the position's called. I watched a video. They called it side position number 2. Doesn't help shit. That's just an arbitrary naming, right? The best way to describe it is if you watch that Alexei Oleinik and Jared Mandera fight, it's the position Oleinik was in when he finished that. It's his classic choke, right? That, when he's perpendicular, the hips are perpendicular to each other, but he's still in side control. He's yeah. And all of that lends towards just making sure you can't get up and just hurting you. All of this shit hurts you, and then he looks just punch you. He isn't a massive submission artist. I know he has a lot of subs. Well, I know he has subs, not a lot of subs. I know he has subs, and I know he is more than able to get them. But I don't think he actively chases them. I feel like he's the type of guy who's more willing to TKO you than to sub you. He will sub you if you give it to him. If you watch that Bryce Mitchell fight, Bryce gave it to him. Ilya got that overhook, and then Bryce overhook. He got that arm triangle overhook, perfect. Bryce's armpit was in Ilya's neck. If you look at the second before Ilya dumped him down and started choking him, Bryce was like, "What? Where the fuck am I, bro?" Fuck, I try to do an accent. I try to do the Arkansas, Alabama inbred accent. I'm just not good at it. So sorry for any years. Yeah, so Ilya takes subs if you really give them to him. I think he prefers to land damage from what I've seen. He's really good at getting people into turtle. And he really likes getting people to turtle and getting that body lock. He did it against Emmett, he did it against Mitchell. And the way he does damage when you're sort of against the fence but standing, or you're in total, is that he'll go side and keep that right arm hooked into that body lock. Right, so imagine the body lock. He's in total. He lets go of the left arm. Right arm keeps that control on the right hip, and then he just tees off with the left arm with like shovel uppercuts or like elbows. I haven't seen him do elbows. That should be a pretty good adjustment if he's long enough. Yeah. Defensively, he's a good grappler. He really likes the down block. Which it ties well into his stance, right? Like, I think Jaden doesn't always use a down block, but he does a similar action where he pulls his guard down. So you see a lot of good boxers, I guess, do this sort of thing where they'll just keep the stance and then go down. Even though down block's not really a new thing. He doesn't accept positions. He's not the type of guy where he's rocked, he'll pull guard. Got absolutely smoked by Jai Herbert's lead, like that right hand switch lead kick. Oh, beautiful. Got smoked with it, got sat down. It's like, wait, I'm on the canvas. I probably should move. And he just shot for that single leg, I think. And he got it. Like, he's not the type of guy who's like, oh shit, I'm hurt. Let me just pull guard. No. He will actively scramble, and I believe that shows that if Charles takes him down, he will just keep scrambling. He's got that dog in him. Right? A couple weaknesses. Well, I don't want to use the word weakness, because with fighters of this caliber, they're not really weaknesses. The things you they don't just do and you can capitalize. You have to set them up to capitalize on them, right? But a couple things that he's open to is, one, when he backs up with his guard up, and he normally backs up with his guard up when you do like a big movement, right? Flying knees would do it, but even sometimes just a big right hand would make him back up. Like a teep would make him back up. When he does that, he's open to kicks, especially to the legs. Like, that is something I observed. So if you do like an Edson Barboza 1-2 angle off right kick, which is a classic Muay Thai combination, right? It does hit, or Muay Thai kickboxing combination. It will hit on him. But obviously, if you do that, it carries the risk of him deciding to, let me just plan and throw, massive overhands and tie left hooks at you. Another thing he does I don't particularly like is the shoulder roll. Don't get me wrong, I like the shoulder roll. Shoulder roll is great, but he doesn't always use it greatly when he uses it sometimes when he exits, right? And it doesn't work out well against a guy with a big right hand. So he did against Emmett, and he got clobbered with the right hand because he used a shoulder roll, and Emmett punched above, the shoulder and hit the top of his head. And that's something dangerous against Charles Oliveira, who has that powerful right hand, and you really just shouldn't do. One major thing that I will say I don't like what he does is the clinch. I don't think he deals with the clinch well, personally. If you watch a lot of training footage, if you watch that Volk Topuria fight, what he does in the clinch is he purely just digs body shots at you. And he'll look to shrug you off with his neck. Like, he'll do like a, when the giraffes fight each other, they like swing their necks. He'll kind of do that. But it's not amazing. Like, it's not an amazing way to defend the clinch, right? You need a close space and stuff, but he doesn't do that. Like, that's why he eats a lot of knees. And that's something I don't think will go well for him in this fight. Just quickly, I want to mention about his physicality. He's openly said in his in interviews that he hasn't actually gained weight, like out of camp weight, from featherweight to lightweight. So he's just pretty much cutting 10 less pounds. He might have built more muscle, lost a bit less. He might be walking around a bit less fat. So obviously his physicality and strength could be an issue here. I know he's put out a video with the UFC PI muscle scan where they've said his muscles off the chart. Like, I get it, but it's still something to be concerned of. It's, like, if you're going up 10 pounds and you're not adding extra weight to yourself, you could get out-muscled, and it's something to consider when you look at this fight. One final thing about Oliveira Topuria is that he can be timed with shots up the knees by a really long, tall opponent like Charles Oliveira. Jai Herbert hit him with a couple good knees, as he entered. The way he holds his lead hand sort of blocks any, like, uppercuts from really getting to him, just because it just cuts off the angle, but you could sidestep, like, circle slightly to the left and do it, but yeah, that's not easy, but he's going to be careful with the knees. Why am I moving the page? Yeah, I don't know. My bad. Okay, let's talk about Charles Oliveira here. So, Charles Oliveira is 35-10, with one no contest. He's coming off a pretty dominant win against Chandler. Well, except for the 5th round, right? We didn't talk about the 5th round there. I think he got gassed, and I'll talk about that later. He's currently 35, and he's turning 36. So, not to bring up statistics, right? Not to bring up statistics, but, Volk is the only guy who's done that. He's the only guy who's won at over 35. No, is it 35? Oh, he's the only guy that won it in that area, and 2036 doesn't bode well for his, peak male athletic performance. But he does have a new kid. Shout out Charles. Congrats on a new kid. I think the kid's called Dominic, so shout out Charles. 188 centimeter reach, 74 inches in freedom units. Orthodox Muay Thai fighter. He's got a Muay Mat style, so if you don't know what Muay Mat means, it's just pretty much an aggressive puncher. And he is that. Obviously, Charles has the most submissions in UFC history, and a lot of those subs have earned him to to be the only fighter in the UFC to earn $1 million US in bonus. So some really cool records there. And as it goes with that sub game, he's incredibly slick on the ground, and he's incredibly aggressive on the ground. So let's talk about how Charles attacks offensively on the feet, striking wise. Charles, I want to say main attack with punches is his right hand. It's this chopping right hand that sort of comes down towards you at an angle, and just there's so much power behind it. I think Charles, Justin Gaethje's openly said that Charles is the person who hit him the hardest, and he's been in there against some heavy hitters, right? So, he's dangerous, eh? Charles' lead hand, he's got a couple variations. He likes to throw that left hook into right hand, which I do understand. It's a very classic combo. That left hook obviously makes you rotate towards your right side, which sets up for more rotation towards your right hand, so more power. He does sometimes hand fight, and he does sometimes frame with the left hand to set up the right hand. But from what I've seen, his lead hand is purely just a way to set up his rear attacks. And yeah, I think that's just how it goes. Pressure. Charles Oliveira is really reliant on pressure. And I'm going to get more into this later, but I think Charles is a fighter who needs to pressure the opponent to win in terms of striking. Ilya is not. He can strike with you pretty much standing still or circling each other. His pressure comes a lot from the way he throws big movements. So I think he starts off some fights with a flying jump kick. I think a lot of Brazilians do. I think Pereira did it as well. Flying side kick. Don't know what the proper word is, but he does that. He obviously has that big flying knee, the flying knees, and he has big step in right hands, which actually cover a lot of distance. Right, he's a long guy. Another thing he uses to set up that pressure is teeps. He teeps really well. He teeps really stiff. He doesn't put much into them. It's more so just to make you back up. So again, helps build his pressure. He aims it towards the body, the hips, the knees, so the oblique kick. Honestly, I think oblique kicks would work quite a bit on Topuria, but say what you want about them. Very unethical, I guess, in terms of fighter to fighter, in terms of just basic respect for their careers, but effective. And another thing he does to build that pressure is the small steps and the Thai knee shield or Thai hop thing he does, right? And what that does is it builds anticipation in the opponent's mind. It's like, shit, he's moving towards me. What is he going to do? When is he going to do? What he's going to do, right? When is he going to go? And what that does is that makes you move back or you attack him. So that's how he uses pressure. He makes you move back, and then so he can attack with long shots, or he makes you attack him, and then he looks to counter. I want to talk quickly about his kicks. So obviously his best kick that we've ever seen was against Beneil Dariush with that flush head. Well, it wasn't actually that flush, but the nice head kick rocked him and then finished him off. Charles is really nice dropping leg kicks that he does from range. He doesn't, have many other kicks. It's just a roundhouse kick that he throws to the legs, head, and sometimes the body. But he uses them really well. They all land heavy and they land with, lethal intent. Another major thing that I really love from Charles is that clinch work. The clinch works and frames that he does is so beautiful. And what's particularly beautiful is that he normally gets hit quite a bit when he goes to exchange, but when he uses these clinches and frames, he tends to not really take damage. Unless, of course, you dodge it and then whack him over the top of his exposed arms, which I think... I want to say Gaethje did it, but someone did it. Yeah. I'm sticking with Gaethje. How does he use these clinches? He's got a couple variations. He's got the tie clinch when he makes like a... where his left arm becomes parallel to his chest, and his right arm cups it like vertically. So there's that one. There's your classic tie clinch when they sort of put your hands together like you're praying, and then put that behind your neck. And then he's got that oh fuck, what's the word? Oh, it's like a resting tie. I forgot. Like left hand, back of the neck, and he throws elbows with the right hand. He uses the clinch to set up knees, elbows, and he also uses it to set up takedowns. How does he set up takedowns? He uses the clinch, gets double unders, or gets a body lock, and does trips from there, right? And another thing he does with the clinch is that, if he can't hold you and control you, he will use it as a way to force you to exit a certain way and control the way you exit. And then he will punish you as you exit with this length. And that usually comes with like a long right hand, or like a kick. Oliveira does actually tend to frame at range, so he will sometimes put his lead hand on your shoulder to control your movement, and then he'll push you if you're getting too close, and then he'll throw a right hand. It's just a way of controlling you and maintaining that pressure, right? So let's talk about how Charles fights against when the opponent's against the fence. I will admit I don't particularly like it from Charles, but he tends to stand a bit more bladed, and he will drop his lead hand when the opponent's against the fence. I know I haven't mentioned it because I'm going to do it in the defensive pattern, but normally he stands with a really quite square with a nice tight high guard. But when you're against the fence, or when he's looking to really land damage, so when he gets a bit overzealous, he does drop that lead hand and does lead to him getting hit. But when he does drop that lead hand, he's looking for pull counters. So if you watch a Chandler fight, a lot of the times it was just the lead hand's up there. He might be touching his shoulder, might be touching his arm, and then Chandler would just swing like Chandler does, like big meaty hooks. Bit of a fucking caveman club. Oh, I see dinosaur. I club dinosaur. Fucking move, like. Brother, use your brain a little bit, Chandler. Anyway, and then he'd look to counter with the right hand with stepping knees. He uses the teep to keep you against the fence. So if you're not circling, which Chandler didn't do for some fucking reason, he would just push you back in the fence with the teep. Now you've got to be careful when you circle against Charles because he has that lead hook into right hand, and he's got a really accurate right hand. I know I keep talking about it, but it's just so fucking accurate. And he turns angles with it really well. He's got a couple of other options. Other options when you're against the fence. He's got the head kicks. He's got the knees, like flying knees, or he will do a stepping knee, which he did against Chandler really well. Or he will look to land that clinch body shot and then into elbows or a body lock trip takedown. Another thing at range that he has is just a beautiful shot. He can shoot for a double leg. He can shoot for a single. I think he tends to shoot for double legs when you're against the fence, and then he'll get you down and then move his jiu-jitsu there. So what I really like about Charles when he strikes is how he's able to work within an exchange. What I mean by that is his willingness and grit to just bite on the mouthpiece, get in there, and just punch at you. Like you see a lot. Don't get me wrong, he has mixed success in it. Like Gaethje, Topuria, he got tagged a lot, right? And he was more disciplined in the Chandler fight, which is really fucking nice to see. But at the end of the day, his willingness to do all of that is what drives his danger, right? Well, it's what makes him dangerous and what makes everyone like back up against him, and so he can initiate strikes the way he wants. Just quickly mention about pace. Charles fights at a fast pace. Yeah, it's tiring. You gotta have your nerves up. But I honestly don't think like when you're comparing two strikers of this level who fight at a similar pace, it's gonna matter that much. Defensively, I'm gonna go back. Let's talk about how Charles does defensively. I'm gonna go back to the high guard. great consistency. Over time in that Chandler fights earlier, he wasn't that consistent with it. He's shown that in the Chandler fight he was really consistent, but he wasn't in the last round. I think it's because he was getting tired. I think he was like, oh shit, I'm beating up in Chandler. I can lower and look to land a bit more damage. Shouldn't do that against Topuria. But it's a nice high guard, and the entire point of it is that he uses it to take shots and make reads off them. And I don't think Charles is an incredibly fast switch guy. I don't think it's incredibly fast reactions. And that high guard really suits him purely because if he can't react to it, then what's he going to do? He just cover up, right? And he keeps strong. He keeps upright. And yeah, it lets him absorb damage well and maintain his balance. Quickly on his upright stance, it's really good because, if he's upright, he can throw that right hand really far down and with a lot of power. Let's talk about his movement. How does he move? Well, Charles moves with micro steps. When he moves forward, he does, if you watch Khalil Roundtree, he does a really exaggerated version of it, where what the Thais do with, 10-ounce gloves, the bigger gloves, where, palms are out, and he's, bobbing, bum, 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 and he does, that Bollywood head shake sometimes. Charles does do that, but he does it with a high guard instead, so high guard, tight boxing guard. He will move forward small steps at a time, quite rhythmic, so you can time him with leg kicks, but he tends to counter anyway, and that's how he moves. How he moves backwards. When you're looking to blitz towards him or attack him, he will take a small tiny hop back and then look to counter, or he will just stay still, take that small hop back, decide not to counter, stay still, and just hold that tight guard. Which is one thing I don't really like about what Charles and Topuria both do. It's okay, I'm moving back, I'm just going to rely on my guard. I would like to see them dodge punches more. I know it helps with their pressure game, but personally, as a man who keeps watching this shit, I'm like, bro, I don't want to get punched. But yeah, I don't know. It's up to them. And ironically, Charles' defense is his offense. In that, when you attack him, he will just attack you. And it goes back to his willingness to trade, like I mentioned before, right? And it's purely just that. He's so willing to trade and just grit down and punch you that it purely just disrupts you. I know I didn't mention much about Charles' jab because I don't think he actually jabs a lot. But when he does jab, it's usually in response to an opponent's jab. So I think you saw it in Chandler against the Chandler fight where they went jab for jab, and what it did is it disrupted the opponent's momentum. Right? If I'm Chandler, I'm looking to jab and throw the right hand, but if I jab and I eat a jab, I can't throw the right hand safely. So he uses it to disrupt the opponent's rhythm, I guess, mid-combination, and then he goes straight back into that pressure. Quickly, because we all know Oliveira has been rocked a lot of times, I want to talk about his chin. I don't think Olives has the chin where he can get sparked flat out. If you watch every single fight, he's never been sparked flat. He's been rocked, he's been dropped, and a lot of times he willingly drops. Damn, I can't speak. And he goes into guard. I also think his chin is so really good at recovering quickly. You look at it. Actually, I'll mention more of it later when I talk about his ground game soon. But when he does get rocked, he pulls guard, and then he will most of the time let you up. He did it against Poirier. Actually, fuck it. Let's transition to ground fight. I'm kind of done anyway. He did it against Poirier, right? He got dropped. He pulled guard. Poirier came into his guard because he wanted to finish him. Charles tied him up with nice close guard, push him off. It was 5 seconds. He recovered in 5 seconds, went back, immediately got back on the front foot. I think he got up, it's oh shit. One step, right hand, left hook. Bro, he just went back to it. Charles has really good takedowns. He likes to double. He really likes to double. And he's really good at tripping and grappling from the body lock and clinch. Right, so he'll get it and he'll look to... He'll do some wacky shit. He will sometimes force you to take your back of the fence, so we get a hook on your leg as you turn perpendicular to the fence, which obviously means you might be giving your back. But a lot of people tend to defend it, but they, end up to ground. He can be overzealous. I see I've used this word with him twice, but it really is true. He isn't that composed. He can be really overly aggressive when he goes for the takedown. You watch that Poirier fight, I think it was the second round, he went for it and he's just slipped off Poirier. He was completely on bottom. Poirier was standing above him, and he was lucky he was really good jiu-jitsu and was able to get the sweep on Poirier, but if he wasn't, it could be in a dangerous position. Charles is a really aggressive guard. He doesn't give a shit. He genuinely doesn't give a shit about the fact that you can punch him. He will get close guard on you. He's really good at getting close guard. He's gotten close guard on every single opponent when he's on bottom. Right? He'll get close guard on you and you just start throwing up triangles, start looking to sweep by rolling under your legs. It's just he always wants to do something, and I really respect that. I think that's why Charles and Ilya Topuria are such fan fighters, because they don't accept position, and they're not like a Torres Vinny when they're on top. Fuck you, Torres Vinny. Okay, shout out Azamat Bakoyev. Hopefully he knocks him out, yeah? If you don't know Azamat Bakoyev, look at his Twitter. He's fucking hilarious. And with the way he kicks people off is that he prefers to just land damage or finish the fight. So, I honestly think Charles likes striking more than he likes grappling. Which is a weird thing to say with all his grappling accolades, but I truly do think it's true. In the Gaethje fight, he pulled guard on Gaethje, got Gaethje down, got close guard, and it was like, Gaethje postured up, saying, oh shit, I can't do anything until I'm on the ground. Alright, kick him off. He didn't even try to say anything. I'm just like, shit, I might as well punch him. He put his feet on Gaethje's chest, kicked him off. He did the same thing against Poirier. I mentioned it earlier. Got him. Poirier postured up. Kick him off. Go back to striking. Now, weaknesses. Again, I don't really want to call them weaknesses, but just things that maybe they don't do that well that you can perhaps capitalize off. Or some things that if you set it up, you can perhaps capitalize off. Charles is not good at dealing with looping shots. If you look at how he gets dropped, every single time, I think the exception of maybe the Islam fight. No, Islam got him with Islam got him over the knee. Yeah, that's a shit knee. Yeah, except for the Islam fight, they're like looping shots. And one thing I observed a lot in the Chandler fight is Chandler actually moves quite well. He moves by switching angles as he explodes, right? And in doing that, he's able to get hooks past all of his high guard. And he gets hit with a lot of those. He gets hit a lot, past the guard, and he gets countered a lot by looping shots as he goes for his straight shots. Which is dangerous against Ilya, because Ilya's got really good overhand. Obviously, his aggressive jiu-jitsu can lead the opponent to just smash through. He opens his guard, the opponent's just like, oh shit, I'm going to pass. It's hard because, Oliveira is really good at regaining full guard, but it is definitely doable. And he eats a lot of damage, so I think that goes back to the fact that he's kind of chinny, and he's willing to trade. He eats a lot of damage. When he exchanges, chin does sometimes come up. Doesn't always happen, but it does. And his chin sometimes does get exposed because his guard doesn't come back to where it's meant to be. And he doesn't really have much, slipping head movement. It's more so he'll move his head off center as he exchanges with you. But when you go into, 5-6 punch exchanges, it's hard to keep it up if you don't constantly practice it and don't have to wait shifting to do so. And so Oliver does do that. I think he's fairly one-dimensional on striking. Right? And what I mean by that is he has to be pressuring to strike. If he's not pressuring, he can't really strike. Another thing, he's one-dimensional on the way he exits when he's against the fence. He just goes to circle out and go back to the pressure. But, literally, I don't know why no one's actually managed to cut him off as he does it. Doesn't make any fucking sense to me. He just strolls out. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't call it a weakness, but it's something that's untested in a way. And then last thing, I'm only going to put cardio here because he did gas in that Chandler fight in the 5th round. And I think that's purely why his guard drop and Chandler was able to hit him that 4-piece in a shoulder. Okay, so do's and don'ts for each fighter in this fight. I think this fight ultimately comes down to whoever is able to pressure the opponent more. And I think ultimately in this fight, the person who tries to exit first, like post combination, will most likely get caught. And they both need to make sure they don't exit straight back. So let's look at Ilya. I think Ilya needs to make sure that when he, goes for his head movement, he makes sure to not purely lower his neck and just give Oliveira the clinch. If he's gonna do it, he needs to, move his weight with his knees, which he does anyway. But sometimes it does happen. He needs to make sure that he doesn't give Oliveira that clinch. He also needs to chase Oliveira to the ground if he knocks him down. He hurts him, he needs to go straight for it. He can't, oh shit, let me look at his legs, let me kick his legs. No, fuck that. Dive in. Get half, look to punch him, look to finish him. He needs to make sure that he keeps 2 in, 2 out, which is just basic way of defending against a triangle, right? Can't really launch a triangle around 2 arms, can't really launch a triangle around just the neck. Oliveira kind of just goes for a triangle when he's in guard, or he goes for a sweep. And he needs to make sure to keep aggressive with jiu-jitsu, look to improve position and land damage. Ilya should use his leg kick. It's going to land well, I think. It's going to land effectively. And I might get Charles to put that knee up with that hop, right? And if Ilya sees that, counter immediately. He sees it. If Charles throws anything, sees it, go blitz. His balance isn't great. He's on 1 foot. And, he literally doesn't do anything with it. He just uses it as a way to make you move backwards. So if you move forwards, he ain't going to do shit. Ilya needs to make sure he doesn't shoulder roll when he exits straight, purely because of that Charles Oliveira right hand. It can get him on the tempo and can drop him and hurt him. He needs to make sure that when Oliveira goes for that teep, when he goes for leg kicks, when he goes for that, when he goes to touch the lead hand, he goes and counters. Teep is a bit harder to counter purely because it's pushing you back, but I think Ilya can do a step back leg kick of his own as a counter. Ilya, I think, should be patient. Ilya can be patient in this fight, and probably will be patient, and he needs to make sure he doesn't get too eager for the finish, which he doesn't do anyway, but I just want to reinforce that fact. And he needs to be really confident in his hand speed. Ilya's so fast. He throws punches so fast, and it's just like, he can throw 2 in the time you throw 1. It's phenomenal to watch. Yeah, he just needs to rely on the hand speed. He should maybe look for some shots that can go past the guard, so a long right hook, long left hook, long right hook, or an angle change right hook to get past all of his high guard. And I think he should stay in that punching range. Well, his punching range. As I don't think he wins at any other range but that punching range, but he's so good at maintaining it that I think I'm confident that he's going to do it. What should Oliveira do? Oliveira needs to stay at 2 ranges. He needs to stay at a kicking range where Ilya can't really punch him, and a range where if Ilya starts to blitz with him, he can see it and react to it. And at that range, he should use leg kicks. He should go for high kicks just to mix it up. He should use that teep and just pretty much use whatever he can to impose pressure on Ilya and get Ilya moving backwards. The next thing he should do, the next range, the next only other range I really want to see him fighting in, is that clinch. I think he should actively look to clinch with him. He does get sometimes caught when he goes for the clinch, when he reaches prematurely. But when he's in the clinch, I just don't see Ilya winning. I don't think Ilya has the correct tools to deal with his clinch. Yeah. Next thing, he needs to make sure he keeps that defense tight when he trades. Should he trade Ilya? Yes. I think his right hand, his length would be really beneficial when they trade. But he needs to make sure that he keeps that the hands on the chin and keeps the chin tight. Because, man, Ilya touches you once and he's fucked, right? And obviously he needs to force Ilya to exit first, which is what I said. Whoever exits first probably loses the fight or exchange. Charles can't stay on the fence. He needs to actively get off the fence. And whether that means biting down on the mouthpiece and going for it, and then going for it 1-2, get Ilya moving backwards and then circling out. Or just, out fucking moving him and go side to side. Ankle breaking him in a way. You know, that's what he has to do. He can't stay against the fence against a man like Ilia Topuria. I think he should chase the takedown. I think he should shoot. Because if you look at what Ilia does, he goes for that, he shoots if he gets a down block and he looks to get that body hook, right? Yeah, the body lock. And what Charles can easily do is he can shoot, he gets failed, he gets stopped, he's he's below, he's in the front headlock. Ilya goes to take his back as he turtles, he just pulls guard. And I think Charles will be safe there in guard. So I think takedowns would be really nice for Charles to take, to shoot and really get that pressure back on Ilya and get him thinking. And I do think Ilya's quite a hard guy to choke. He's like Volk. Yes, I'm plugging my favorite fighter, okay? Don't fucking sue me. He's short, stocky, he ain't got too much of a neck. He ain't that chokeable. Actually, kind of does have a bit of a neck in the photo, eh? But he's got like the wide shoulders. He's not that chokeable. So I think he shouldn't go for like be overzealous with subs. He should maybe just use it as a way to get top position on Ilya and punch him. Because I don't actually know how Ilya deals with being on bottom. I know he'll scramble. What happens? But what happens when you make him accept the position? I don't know how he deals with that. Right, and that's something that's untested for Ilya that I would like to see occur. The last thing is and as part of that is land punches on the ground. Right, don't look for subs. Look for damage. Look for positional control. Look to land ground and pound. He needs to initiate when he initiates exchanges. He needs to be focused on crossing that distance into that clinch. Is what I think, or keeping it at like really far and not letting Ilya come in. And I would like to see him finish some combinations with kicks, like angle off leg kick, angle off body kick, angle off head kick. As you know, it gets, as I've said, Ilya is open towards those kicks when he does back up. And you can't let Ilya hand fight you, look to jab at you without punishing him, right? You have to make sure that you can put something in his mind that says, maybe I shouldn't always just put my hand out and touch your lead hand. He needs to make sure he does that. Okay, I've been yapping for 47 fucking minutes. A lot of fucking random information, a lot of stumbles. I'm sorry, it's my first video. I know I don't have any nice visuals. These take time. And I'm learning this. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, bro. Motherfucker, I'm 19, bro. Which is actually not an excuse, but I'm learning this shit, so I'll get better. I'll stay consistent, hopefully. Last thing, how this fight goes. I think ultimately this fight is, again, like I said before, decided by who can actually impose the pressure game on each other. But what I think is that ultimately they might just not be able to pressure any. I don't think someone's going to be able to establish pressure on the other guy. I think it will sort of be like in the middle stalemate where they might be circling or like feinting and then coming back. And when that occurs, I would say Ilya has the advantage because I think Charles' style is just a lot more fucking reliant on pressure than Ilya's is. Like Ilya's creates pressure, but Charles relies off pressure. You know what I mean? Before I tell you what is going to happen, I think by now you can probably tell who I think is going to win. But I did watch Ilya's media workout. I think I watched it on the Mac Life. There's a couple other channels that had it. I think Helen Yee did some interviews there. John Morgan was there, so check it out. It was pretty cool. He was training with Guram Kutateledze. I might have butchered that. Lightweight. He's about the same height. I think he's 180. So yeah, about the same height as Charles. About the same proportions. He was practicing against Charles's flying knee. And what he did is he just straight up backed up and then got straight back under pressure, which is kind of what I said he would do, right? He just backs up and goes straight up back under pressure. Sometimes he did blitz against it, so he would back up and then go straight 1-2 combinations. He was practicing against Charles's head kick. And he would do that two-hand block, same side hand goes up, the other hand goes to cross block, whacks it, like smacks it, pause it, whatever the word is. And he would lean forward away from the kick. I'm not 100% happy with that, the way that goes. I know he's doing it so he can maintain that space, not have to give up space and keep pushing forward. But it could lend to him being off-balanced, purely because there's a lot of force that's coming from that kick, right? and he is leaning more forward on that left foot. So if it does, it will fuck up his entire purpose of, let me keep on him and not let him kick at me for free. But if he is able to maintain his balance, maintain his positioning, it's a perfect position to counter as the kick comes back, or at least guarantee Charles moves backwards towards the fence. Again, you saw him practice his takedown defense. He did the exact same shit I said he'd do. He went for the down block and then he went circle backwards towards body lock. By the way, I'm really happy, right, that I watched this video after I did the analysis on that body lock shit. Like, it makes me feel good, you know, like, because I saw what he would do and he confirmed it. Hey, you know, I'm just saying, bit of an ego boost. And then last thing was against Teeps. So Guerrero was teeping. I didn't particularly like how Guerrero was teeping. It wasn't fully extended. I know Charles isn't fully extended, but I just felt like Charles' teeps were longer. What Ilya did was just he would do like lead hand or rehand would just pour, like smack it away, and he would just back up and then go straight back under pressure. I didn't see him counter. But yeah. So all that aside, to my final prediction, I think Ilya is going to win. I think Ilya. Honestly, I think Ilya's more able to get the pressure going, purely because of how much more calm his style was. But even if no one can establish pressure superiority, like I said, it's just he's better in a neutral position. He's better at cutting off the cage, and I think he's just more safe off the back foot, purely because Charles's guard, like high guard, does leave him open toward body shots and shots up top past it. So I think this fight ends with Ilya hurting Charles in the first 3 rounds. So, round 1, 2, 3 finish. He's gonna get him off like a Charles's like lazy frame, or he's gonna get Charles be lazy with like a lead hand attack to counter that, and then he's just gonna drop him and he's gonna chase him down and get the TKO or sub. So obviously this video is coming a bit late. If you watch this, thank you for watching this entire fucking abomination that I've started over, and I will get more efficient. This is all one take, so you'll forgive me I'll learn editing. Thank you for your time, truly. This is really cool because I'd be doing this anyway. Like I'd just be talking to myself, which is a bit sad, but hey, when your friends watch soccer and no one else watches fucking MMA, what can you do? So thanks. Drop me a like. You want to say I did something shit, drop me a comment. You want to help me a little bit, please drop me a comment. Drop me a sub. I'll try to be consistent. Hopefully I'll be consistent. I want to be consistent because this is really fun. Thanks for your time. And if the thumbnail's shit, I'm sorry.